Hello everyone and welcome back to another Marvel Crisis Protocol battle report for the channel. Today we've got a 17 threat match between the Midnight Suns and the Criminal Syndicate. However, it's worth knowing this is also going to be the first one using the new beta Crisis cards. I don't even think their class is being in a beta right now, but Tom S Games have announced that in 2023 at some point they're releasing an updated Crisis card pack, similarly to what they did with the upgraded character cards. But they've made it available free now in PDF form, so you can print off your own. Haven't printed them off yet, got them up on the monitor to the side here, so we're going to go over the different changes to the Crisis cards being played today. It's not super different, and just in general have a look at what's different with them. Threat values have changed, scoring conditions have changed, they've been made simpler text wise, and they've added a bunch more layout types. 4 more I think, 3 or 4 more, and one of them is actually being used today. So we can cover that in detail once we've looked at the two teams. So here are the Midnight Suns, somewhat based on the new Midnight Suns video game. I've been playing it on my Twitch stream. It's pretty fun if you like card games, and lots of talking. And it's being led by Blade, and bringing along the heavy hitters today as well. We've got Doctor Strange, we've got the Spirit of Vengeance himself, Ghost Rider, although that's not really the Ghost Rider you get to play as in the game, but Johnny Blaze is in it. And also Magic as well, and their tactics cards today are Siege of Darkness, Bats the Ghost Hound, Journey Through Limbo, Deal with the Devil, and Highway to Hell. And here's the nasty villains making up the Criminal Syndicate, being led by Wilson Fisk this time. Shadowland Daredevil is nowhere to be seen. Joined by Gambit, I guess this is on his evil-ish arc, Bullseye, Taskmaster, and Murdoch. So one heavy hitter at the very least, and then just one heavy. And their tactics cards are Cruel Tutelage, Medpacks, Shadow Organization, Aim Lackeys, and Charming Thief. So here is the two Crisis cards being played. This is the threat value on Deadly Meteors, which is the 3 Origin Bombs, and the Montesi formula we've seen a bunch. However, not using the text as written here, we're going to use the new cards. Montesi formula is now an 18 threat Crisis, although again that's not the value being played, so it doesn't really matter, just mentioning it as a matter of note. The scoring condition remains the same, the 3 books and their deployment remains the same. Only difference is this is now appropriately a Mystic attack as opposed to an Energy attack, so we will be counting it as a Mystic for this game. Deadly Meteors is still 17 threat, that's the value being played. However, it has changed quite a bit. There is still 3 Origin Bombs, they're deployed differently using one of the new map types, map type I believe it was, and rather than being 3 victory points to whoever controls the majority, it is simply 1 victory point for each one held, so more scoring opportunities. So we can actually take a look at the table here, pull back a little bit. Books, as I say, the same, but the deployment for the Origin Bombs, they're not in a straight line, and the one here slightly favours this deployment edge, and the one over there slightly favours that deployment edge. So it makes 1 each, easy to cap. There's still 1 in the middle, those should be perfectly overlapped, but it's just showing that they're both there because the book will get picked up. So their main goal for changing the Crisis cards is 1, to offer more variety, 2, to make it more of a big brawl in the middle, which is always fun, and 3, less extractions, or no extractions actually, that just have 1 objective, which you then have to run around the table with. They don't want you playing keep away, basically, which is good. And Terrigen Mist Clouds is just not there anymore. It joins Panic Grip Citizens, or whatever it was called, as Crisis cards are no longer used in the game, officially. Still might do it now and then here, but either way. So that is what's different. With that, we'll get set up for deployment. So we are all set up and ready to go. However, one more thing to mention about the changed Crisis cards, if you want an indication of just how changed some of them are. If you're familiar with the 3 safe houses, one of them's the Senator, you grab the Senator, you hold on to them, you score points. That one now uses one of the new map layouts where there is a clump of 6 in the middle. So there's now 6 Senators that need save. So that's, like, some of them have changed really significantly. And I kind of lucked out that this was already set up and good to go, and when they launched the tweet that had the PDF, and it didn't change that much, so we're able to try it on the fly. So anyway, the Criminal Syndicate is taking first activation. They also have a 1 model advantage, and they're on the right side of the table, so we've got Taskmaster, Gambit, Kingpin, Murdoch, and then Bullseye is up there on the building there. Midnight Suns are a bit more spread out. We've got Ghost Rider off on his lonesome down on this flank, Magic, Blade, and then around this side of the building we have the good Doctor. So with that, we can jump into battle round 1, Criminal Syndicate going first. So Bullseye got the game started backflipping down the building in what I'm sure is a graceful fashion, moving twice to get close enough to the Origin Bomb over here in map layout I. Spending his 1 power to interact with it, you still roll against your energy defense and want to get more successes than there are healthy characters. and the Criminal Syndicate affiliation bonus makes healthy characters count as 2, so it makes it harder for the Midnight Suns. He got it, but he did also have a skull in the roll, so he takes 1 damage. Also, there's no Criminal Syndicate tokens, so Magneto's helmet is going to be the indicator for them. Well, the Midnight Suns did activate and went with Blade. He moved up in order to get to the centre there. He's just within 1 of the Origin Bomb, but he paid 1 power to pick up the book instead, so he can't interact with the Origin Bomb this turn, but at least he makes it harder to claim unless he gets forcibly moved. MODOK was up next for the Criminal Syndicate. Kind of forgot how annoying he can be. He moved up small for his first action, then for his next action he did a Psionic Bolt into Blade, 6 dice Mystic. Blade's got 4 Mystic Defense, he's pretty good at it. Got him for 2 damage though, and the reason he's over there is because MODOK immediately spent that 2 power on Bow to the Will of MODOK to force him to move small. Kind of moved him sideways just to get him away from the Origin Bomb, but also put him in danger of like Kingpin, Gambit, Taskmaster. Not a great place for him to be. Oh, forgive me, I did forget to mention, after moving up small, MODOK spent the 1 power he started with from the power phase on picking up the book that he was right next to. He was within 1 of that as well. Silent Bolt had a range 4 anyway, but he is within range 3 of where Blade was. So everything happened as is, just forgot to mention he picked up the book first. Magic moved up next for the Midnight Suns to try and offer Blade some support in the middle. She moved once, medium, paid 1 power, picked up the book, and then moved again to just be within 1 of the central Origin Bomb. Does not have any power to try and interact with it this turn though, just trying to make it hard to cap for the Criminal Syndicate. Also, it's not going to be mentioned every time it happens because otherwise that'd be tedious, but Ghost Rider is generating 1 power every time an ally is attacked, so when Blade got hit he got 1 power for that as well. Gambit activated, moved up medium to the side of the police car there, then used Kinetic Ace on Blade, firing some explosive cards at him. Would have got some damage through, however. Blade spent the 2 power he had from taking damage from MODOK on Supernatural Senses. He can do that if he's attacked by Physical or Mystic. It lets him reroll any number of his defense dice, including skulls. So he had to do that in order to not take damage, and he's still sitting with just the 2 from MODOK now. Doctor Strange activated for the Midnight Suns, or Dr. Spooky as he's constantly referred to in the video game. The dialogue is so cheesy in that game, it's wonderful. Anyway, he moved up in order to contest this Origin Bomb here, paid 1 power to interact with it, and sadly he was not able to convert it on this 4 dice. He did give himself 1 damage for the trouble of trying though by rolling a skull. He rolled a shield as well, so he generated 1 power back, but yeah, nasty result there. The Rotund Kingpin activated. That's a polite word for fat, right? Anyway, he moved small twice because that's what it took to get him to the central Origin Bomb. Paid 1 power to interact with it, but thanks to Magic being there was not able to convert it, which is pretty big considering the fail Doctor Strange just had. So, unless they pass, actually I don't think they can pass now because it's just Taskmaster go. So yeah, I think it's Ghost Rider up next. Ghost Rider activated to end off the Midnight Suns turn as stated, and this is why you don't make the Spirit of Vengeance mad. He moved up, first of all, medium, which put him within 1 of this Origin Bomb here, paid 1 power, interacted with it, 4 energy defense, and he was able to convert it. From where he was standing, for his other action, he then used Chains of Damnation, range 3, on Kingpin, did very well with the roll, 6 dice energy, with Hex on a wild, which he did get, but he managed to do 4 damage through to Kingpin there, with the Hex, and then thanks to the power that generated, he immediately spent 3 of it on, what is it called? Hell on Wheels, to give him a long move. Doesn't count as an action, so he shot over here, paid 1 power, interacted with that Origin Bomb, and managed to convert that one as well. So a very good turn for Ghost Rider there. Kind of makes up for the fail on positioning Blade and Doctor Strange not converting the other bomb. So it's over to Taskmaster now to see how the first turn ends. So for Taskmaster, it was a double medium move, the standard turn 1 play, to get over to this Origin Bomb to pay his 1 power to try and convert it, and he actually managed to fail it. So unfortunately for them, Criminal Syndicate don't get to hold on to it, which is doubly bad because it means obviously they don't get the points, but also they want to hold those bombs because it's so much harder for them to get turned back if they stay on their healthy sides. But not the case this turn. So we'll go to scoring and see how the new Crisis cards pay out. So then Battle Round 1, the Montesi Formula books pay out as normal. They're worth 1 to everyone holding 1. So the Midnight Suns have 2 and Criminal Syndicate have 1. But the Origin Bombs are different now, as we mentioned at the top of the video. It's no longer majority gets 3 victory points, because in this case it would mean Criminal Syndicate gets 0, Midnight Suns get 3. Nope, they are worth 1 individually, which is ironic actually, because if I remember rightly a while back now, One time we had this mission, we accidentally did it that it was this way, like 1 victory point per origin bomb held instead of majority. So it's funny that it ended up being changed to this. So yeah, as it stands, the Midnight Suns get 2 victory points for holding 2 of the origin bombs. Criminal Syndicate get 1 for holding that. So as we go into battle round 2, Midnight Suns have taken first activation, and they are leading 4-2. So the Midnight Suns came out swinging at the top of battle round 2. Blade activated, but before that, Siege of Darkness went into play. They went all out with this card. So it's like the Wakandan one. Midnight Sun characters can spend 2 of those. They can immediately do a free attack cost attack. So Ghost Rider and Doctor Strange, they're both Midnight Suns. They both paid the 2. Doctor Strange did his basic free attack on Bullseye, did 3 damage, so thanks to the self-inflicted 1 damage he took from converting the origin bomb successfully, he dazed. And then Ghost Rider did Chains of Damnation on Wilson Fisk again, got 3 on him, and that also dazed him. I said stunned there, didn't I? I meant dazed. So they're both dazed, so that's 2 activations stolen from Criminal Syndicate, wrong game, this turn. So that is a massive start. For Blade's actual turn, he just used his basic katana on Taskmaster, did not do any damage, but it still procs the bleed regardless. He then moved to try and hold, or help hold, this origin bomb over here, and because he ended his turn within 2 of someone who's bleeding, he gained 1 extra power and healed 1 damage. So quite a start. Well, all of a sudden, with Criminal Syndicate only having 3 activations, Murdoch activated, moved up small to kind of block out the origin bomb here. He then used a Sonic Bolt, or whatever it's called. Is it Bolt for him? Yeah. On Magic. All the Midnight Suns basically have decent Mystic defense. They're all 4, I think. So it didn't really matter who he went after, but he didn't want to feed power to Ghost Rider. He actually did really well against Magic despite her 4 energy Mystic defense. 4 damage, leaving her on 1 health remaining. Also sapped the power from her in the process as well. He then spent 2 of the power he generated from doing that damage to force Ghost Rider to move with Bow to the Will of Modok. So Ghost Rider's been forced back there. Finally, he tried to convert the Origin Bomb with Ghost Rider out of the way, and actually managed to fail it. So it did not go entirely in Modok's direction there. Well, given the impending danger, she's ended up being dazed, Magic activated, and spent 3 on Journey Through Limbo. Used it on Murdoch, so you pick a character within 2 of her, place them within 3, and they gain Incinerate. Costs her 3 to do it. She shoved Modok back. The plan is to just try and frustrate him, get him out of there, and not feed him power so he can spam Doomsday Chair. So he's out of the distance of being a dangerous turn, and well, hopefully next turn, at least from 2 attacks. She then moved Medium over to the left here. Needs to come around here. She paid 1 power to convert the Origin Bomb and succeeded, which is actually risky, because if it had done damage to her from rolling a skull, she would have dazed herself. So that was a little bit risky, but now the Midnight Suns own all 3 Origin Bombs, and it's over to either Gambit or Taskmaster next. Taskmaster was the first to activate for what's left standing this turn of Criminal Syndicate. Moved Medium over to the Origin Bomb over here and then chucked his shield at Magic. Bonked her on the back of the head for 1 damage, so she is dazed. That should not be next turn. She's got two bits of damage. She only took 1 from the shield because she only had 1 health left. It did ricochet into Doctor Strange, but he blocked it. Oh, I know where that 1 damage should be. Next to him, because he ended his turn bleeding, so he took 1 damage. She dropped the book, but not close enough for him to pick up, so it's been dropped where you can see it. He did, however, then pay 1 power to successfully convert the middle Origin Bomb to Criminal Syndicate. Dr. Spooky activated, moved forward Medium in order to pay 1 power to pick up the book that Magic dropped. Then did his basic free attack on Taskmaster, who's no longer there because if it deals damage you can push them back, so he did. Pushed him away small down here next to Ghost Rider. Dealt 2 damage in the process, so that's pretty good. Wasn't able to get close enough to the middle bomb there to convert it back though. So now it is over to Gambit to end off the turn already for Criminal Syndicate. So Gambit walked Medium around the corner in order to contest this Origin Bomb. He then did his bow staff attack. It's only 4 dice physical, generates him 1 flat power. He was hoping for a wild to get a push. Did not get it, but did manage to do 1 damage through to Blade, despite it only being 4 physical. He then paid 1 to try and convert the Origin Bomb anyway. Not only did he fail, but he rolled a skull, so he hurt himself for 1 damage as well. So that is the Criminal Syndicate's turn over. It's over to Ghost Rider though to take us to the end proper. Well, from where his turn started, Ghost Rider spent 2 on Flames of Hell, I believe it's called. Beam 3, 5 dice energy, 2 power, incinerates if it does any damage. And it was the first really bad whiff of the game. Well, it wasn't really that he whiffed, defense rolls were just good enough to match what he rolled. So he hit Taskmaster and Gambit with it. They both took 0 damage. Then he just moved over to the Central Origin Bomb, spent 1 power, and has successfully converted it back to the Midnight Suns. So with that, we are going to scoring. At the end of Battle Round 2, the Criminal Syndicate really felt those 2 missing activations from the really good first turn of the Battle Round for Midnight Suns. Points wise, Midnight Suns have 2 of the books for 2 victory points and all 3 of the Origin Bombs, so they gained a total of 5, taking them up to a massive 9. So that's pretty substantial. They're over halfway to winning. The Criminal Syndicate only gained 1 from the book that MODOK is holding on to, which takes them to 3, so they're trailing pretty badly. Bullseye's flipping his card, Kingpin's flipping his card, Magic's flipping her card as well. Criminal Syndicate are back in control of the turn though, so that first activation next round could be very significant because the Midnight Suns are hurting. But I guess we'll see what happens. The Kingpin got the turn started for Criminal Syndicate and played Cruel Tutelage to get things off on a violent start. So what this means is it's just free to play. During Criminal Syndicate characters act... Oh, sorry, no, it's not. You pay 1. The next attack made by them adds 3, but if it contains 1 or more skulls, they stagger themselves at the end of their activation. So he moved first to where you can see him. He then did, what was it, Hail to the King, baby? 3 power, 7 dice normally, up to 10 because of Cruel Tutelage. Doctor Strange spent on Horath's Hoary Wisdom to give himself 5 defense dice in total, and did pretty well with his defense. It would have been 5 damage otherwise, but he ended up taking 2. The attack staggers though, so not only did Kingpin stagger himself with the Cruel Tutelage card, he has staggered Doctor Strange, but did not take him out, which was originally the plan, to steal the book from him. He did also pay 1 power to convert the Origin Bomb, and succeeded. First up for the Midnight Suns, this battle round was Magic, and she immediately used her Soul Sword, ranged to 5 dice Mystic, to stab Bullseye through the chest. He has 2 Mystic defense. He took 4 damage, so he is out of there. He did not do much this game, unfortunately, for him, although last time he was on the table as well and did better. She then immediately spent the power she got from stabbing Bullseye to death on Darkchild, her best attack, range 3, 6 dice Mystic. You count skulls in both the attack roll and the defense roll as successes. She did it on Wilson, and it was rubbish. Not a great roll, did no damage, but when it's resolved you incinerate and bleed regardless of damage dealt. So Wilson is collecting all the status effects. But he's still standing, and she used both actions as attacks, so she's stuck over there, but Bullseye's not getting the turn, he's gone. So the frustrations continued to mount for Criminal Syndicate. That's why the dice are visible for a change. It's always bad when that happens. So he moved to get closer to that Origin Bomb. He then used the Mnemonic Technique, or however you pronounce it. It's a 4 dice physical, but you add on dice equal to the opponent's physical defense. So in Blade's case that's 4 more, and no rerolls allowed. So that brings it up to an 8 dice physical. There's the dice. Like, what are the chances of that? And there was 1 success in there which has been blocked because there's Blade's defense. So he took nothing. So then Taskmaster spent 1 to try and convert that Origin Bomb, failed that as well, and then took 1 damage because he's bleeding. That's what they call an epic fail. Oh, sorry, there was one more thing. He used Medpack on himself to heal the 3 damage he had, so now he does just have the 1 damage from the bleed. Dr. Spooky was next up and had to shake his stagger to start his turn, so he only had 1 proper activation, which he used to do his basic attack on Kingpin, who was only rolling 1 less defense dice, so I put him at 2 because it's energy. He took 1 damage from it. Doctor Strange then had enough power to spend 3 on Oster's Refuge, I think it's called. Yeah, that's the one. The one that heals him for 3 or an ally within 3. But yeah, he's healed himself to full just to try and hold on to that book of his. Well, the frustrations for Criminal Syndicate just increase and increase. Gambit activated, leaving just MODOK for the turn. He started with a Kinetic Ace on Blade, managed to do 1 damage through to him, putting him on 3 damage in total, so he has 3 left. And that also gave him enough power to then crack out the 52 card pickup, which is a beam, but it just caught Blade. Still only 5 dice, but energy, which means it's going against his worst defense at 3. And wilds count as 2 successes. He only had 1 wild and didn't have any power left over to convert another hit to 1. So he had 4 going in, and then Blade just went and aced his defense roll. All successes plus a crit, so he rolled another one. It was also a block, so he fully blocked it. And Gambit can't even try and convert that Origin Bomb. He used all his power and achieved 1 blood damage on the damn fear. So It is one of those games where the dice is just favouring one side over the other, which is rare for the Midnight Suns, honestly, because usually they struggle. But they've got the upper hand for sure here. Blade was up next for the Midnight Suns. He stayed exactly where he was. He cracked out his Mystic Katanas, did his basic 5 dice Mystic onto Gambit, managed to get him for 3. He's still standing though. Does do a bleed. Then he spent 4 on what is it called? Knight of the Damn Fear. 7 dice Mystic if the target's already bleeding, which Taskmaster was. He gets full rerolls on it. It does do bleed, and he can do a medium move afterwards, but he chose not to. That also did 3 damage, because that's the way this game works. A free attack does 3, a 4 attack spender does 3 as well. So, actually it's kind of a benefit though, because Taskmaster didn't get dazed, so that meant when Blade ended his turn, he's within 2 of 2 characters who are bleeding. So not only does he heal 2, he gets 2 free power back, which is essentially half the cost of Knight of the Damn Fear. So he's only got 1 damage on him now, still got the book, still helping to hold down that bomb, and Gambit and Taskmaster are in trouble. And it's over to MODOK to end the third round for the Criminal Syndicate at least. So the frustrations continue for Criminal Syndicate. MODOK activated, sent all the way up there thanks to the Journey Through Limbo Tactics card last turn. He moves small. He does have that big base to compensate, but still, it took him both his actions, his moves, just to get over to an Origin Bomb. He wants some vengeance against magic, I guess. Well, not this turn, because he can't attack this turn. And he spent 1 power on trying to convert the Origin Bomb, and it didn't work. He failed. So it stays under Midnight Sun's control for now at least. And he's still on fire too, which is to benefit if they actually decide to attack him, which is not a good idea, because then he can start spamming Doomsday Chair. So he's sitting there, and that's their turn done. It's over to Ghost Rider to take us to the end of the round. Well, Ghost Rider ended up not moving for his turn either. He didn't need to, 1 goal in mind, take out Fisk, get rid of that affiliation bonus. Not that it matters as much as characters start getting dazed. He did some Chains of Damnation, did 4 damage to the Kingpin, who is still incinerated, so he was rolling 1 less defense die, and that gave him a bunch of power. So Ghost Rider was, well, both of them a lot of power, 4 power each. So Ghost Rider was like, okay, now it's time for the penance there, and did that, and it ended up doing less damage, but it did enough with the damage he already had on him that Fisk is out of there. He didn't need to do anything else. Oh, sorry, he did. He converted that Origin Bomb back to the Midnight Suns, and with that takes us to scoring, and this is a rough game for Criminal Syndicate. So then, Battle Round 3, things are, well, the writing's on the wall more or less, but we're going to play a little bit of turn 4 anyway, or Battle Round 4. I did forget to mention, though, when Ghost Rider converted that Origin Bomb in the centre, he did hurt himself for rolling a skull, so he has taken 1 damage from that. But to go over the scores officially, the Midnight Suns still have 2 books, 1 on Blade, 1 on Doctor Strange, and they hold all 3 Origin Bombs again, so they gained 5 more victory points, taking them up to 14. If they get at least 2 next turn, they win, or next round. The Criminal Syndicate just have the other book on MODOK for 1, taking them up to 4. So they're trailing by 10, which ain't great. So we'll see how the start of Battle Round 4 plays out. If Criminal Syndicate do a first activation, I think MODOK's going to have enough power to do Doomsday Chair, which is always nasty. He might not actually. Well, we'll see. If he does it, it could be really bad for Magic and Doctor Strange, but then just stuff over here just needs to work out. We'll see. Let's go into Battle Round 4. Oh man, how unlucky can one modified organism designed only for killing, or whatever he's called, be? The other half of the Doomsday Chair on Doctor Strange, that got him for 2. That's fine, it bled him. Then he did a Psionic Bolt on to Magic, and if we just come around here, it did a fantastic 1 damage. He did manage to sap power from it though, so he spent that on converting the Origin Bomb, and not only did he fail to convert it, but he smacked himself in the face for 1 damage. So, that basically sums up their game right there. Well, Blade's pretty much wrapped this one up and put a bow on it. He activated, used his katanas on Gambit, only needed to do 1 damage to daze him, which is just as well, because that's all he did. So, Gambit was dazed off of that, then he spent on Knight of the Damn Fear again to get those rerolls against Taskmaster. Got him for 4, much more than was required, he only needed to do 2. Dazed him as well. That actually means Criminal Syndicate have no activations, because MODOK already went. So, it's just down to Ghost Rider, Doctor Strange and Magic. They could technically pile on MODOK, try and daze him, get the book off him as well. That's just BMing at this point, so we're going to go to scoring and call that good. So at the end of Battle Round 4, it is a decisive victory for the Midnight Suns. This might be the first time the Midnight Suns have actually won on the channel. Things were going very well with the dice rolls there. It was in their favour from the dice rolls. Just the way it works out, although obviously new Ghost Rider with his updated card is really good. And Blade did well there. I think that's the first time Blade's done well. He made use of the bleed that he can inflict and heal off of it and gain more power to spend on more Knights of the Damn Fear. But to make this official, MODOK ended the game with a book, bringing the Criminal Syndicate up to 5, but having 2 more books and all three of the Origin Bombs mean the Midnight Suns go up to 19, so past the point of victory because you only need 16, and that does mean that they have comfortably taken a very, very nice win today. Very fun. As I say, I think that's the best the Midnight Suns have done on the table in their showings so far. I guess it's being inspired off of the video game. Which again, if you want to see, you can check out my Twitch channel. We're doing a playthrough on there. The VODs are going up on YouTube as well, to the gaming channel. Just keep in mind that's not kept family friendly. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching this Crisis Protocol Battle Report. There will be more to come in the future. If you want to show support for what we do here on the Tabletop channel, please do consider becoming a channel member or pressing the thanks button, or just leaving a like or a comment. It helps out. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will hopefully see you very soon for another one. Until then, ta-ta for now.